What's going on, guys? We hope all is well with each of you. Welcome back to another episode of the Playbook with Joey and Zach on WZBC AM Sports Radio. To start off the episode, we'll recap the Celtics' electric sweep of the Brooklyn Nets and give our predictions for the rest of the NBA playoffs.
After that, we'll break down our predictions for the NFL Draft, which is tomorrow night. I'm very excited. We'll give some mock drafts and highlight a few of our favorite players, some guys I might see as a sleeper, some guys I might see as a bust. Then we'll recap how the Bruins have done over the past few weeks and highlight our predictions for the NHL Playoffs. We will have some time for some comments at the end, so give me a text at 617-596-3150, 617-596-3150 to let me know you want to call in. After that, we'll connect on FaceTime audio and have you call in. I know we already got Mike Hurley calling in, talk about the Bruins. We also,
big week coming up.
Intramural playoffs, we have to talk a little bit about. We'll highlight that.
Going. Softball, wiffle playoffs coming up. So
yeah, we have a lot to discuss.
Big season.
A ton.
Tough ending of the football season, too. Sorry to say.
Yeah.
But, we got a lot to get into, so let's get right into it with some Celtics talk. Actually, we had a quick episode on Saturday talking about, Celtics being up 2-0, our predictions for the rest of the series. I thought the Celtics were going to win in 5 at that point, but that was absolutely nuts the last 2 games. Absolutely super proud of the team. Everyone really played well together, even with, Tatum fouling out down the stretch of Game 4. Guys really stepped up. Grant Williams was huge for us. And the defense was just just spectacular the entire series. I thought that was definitely a difference maker. I mean, Kevin Durant and Kyrie said it themselves. It's by far the best defensive team in the league. Everyone matched up really well. Tatum and Grant Williams really held KD and really limited his stats throughout the series. Even in Game 4, probably his best game of the series, definitely his best game of the series. KD had 39, but that was on 13 for 31 field goals, which, you can hold KD to that field goal percentage, whatever that leads up to. That's pretty spectacular. And just to contain with that all series, it really goes to show how much this team has improved defensively and how hard they play on both ends. Because, a lot of the games of the series, too, we haven't even shot that well. So we got potential to get even hotter as we go throughout the playoffs. Definitely pumped for the next round against the Bucks. So what are your thoughts on that series?
One thing that was interesting to me was how well the Celtics role players played. Obviously, Grant Williams going into the season, everyone was down on him for the most part. All the Celtics, fans on Instagram and Twitter and social media wanted him gone. And if you look at it, he was one of the best players on the team, the best role player on the team. Robert Williams is very good. Derek White's very good. I think the most valuable role player right now was Grant Williams from that series. Payne Pritchard off the bench was electric as well. But I think Grant Williams played a huge factor. Obviously, I think everyone watching the game knows that, but I think he played a huge factor of the reason why Celtics, swept them. Obviously, I think that, could have won probably 5 or 6 games had he not been so hot off the bench. He was great on defense. He really did limit. He limited, whoever he was covering, whether it was Durant.
Defense was great. 3-point shooting,
Drummond, anyone, he limited. He played great.
Yeah, he can really guard the 2 through 5.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think the one thing
anyone, really.
I think the one thing is also how great Payne Pritchard played off the bench. These are guys in years past, it was really just Tatum and Brown in the playoffs, and we didn't really have that guy off the bench and come off and give a hot streak, someone to get everyone going again, bring some life. Kind of like, when the Lakers won, they just had guys come off the bench that, were electric in 2020. KCP was in the starting lineup, but he was never really too much of a clutch player, but he was hitting big threes in big situations. Then you look at the Celtics team now, Grant Williams, Payne Pritchard making big plays in big moments.
Yeah, Payton Pritchard was that Game 3, hit that step-back 3 to really ice the game. I want to say it was Game 3, first time in Brooklyn. That was huge. His shooting really stepped up, especially in that fourth quarter of that Game 3. He had a couple shots in the row to give us a big swing and take our lead from about a 2-point lead to a 7-point lead. It was a big swing for us. And as you've mentioned, too, Grant Williams, which is absolutely unreal, especially from 3-point. This entire series. Game 4 closing out, he went 4 for 6 from deep. And his defense has just been unreal, too. Just email kind of throw him on whoever, and, he's up for the challenge. I think next series, assuming we play the Bucks, it's looking like it's going to happen. He's going to be a great matchup for Giannis. I think him and Rob Williams are going to be doing most of the work on Giannis. I think both of them have the, physicality to be able to, at least give Giannis a battle on defense. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But just absolutely psyched, kind of like you said about the way the role players play this entire series. I'm starting to feel a lot better about Rob Williams, too. Seeing him come back in Game 3, he was a little bit shaky. You could tell his timing was a little bit off on, offensive rebounds, putbacks, and all that jazz. But Game 4, he definitely looked a little bit more comfortable up there. Still restricted, too. He played 14 minutes in Game 4. But I definitely expect to see starting this Sunday, assuming the Bucks win tonight, or on Friday. That would be Game 1.
In Boston.
Yeah, Game 1 in Boston. We can expect to see his minutes increase a little bit more. And I think he's going to come a bigger impact, especially defensively, assuming we go against a team like the Bucks. So I think that's definitely going to be huge. And And then I want to say, too, actually, my player of the series got to be Al Horford. He was just unreal this entire series. Provided great leadership for the team, was scoring, played defense really well. He had times where, he was always kind of the guy that would come in to double KD, Kyrie. He was always there. He was everywhere. He was great on the glass. He beat out DeAndre Jordan in the series. He was just incredible for the team. So I think he was the most important player for us. And it's great to have a veteran presence like him, too. And also his three-point shooting was actually great throughout the series. He shot – the worst shooting game he had was Game 3. He shot 50% from 3. I think he just hit 1 for 2 that game. But 150, 60% shooting for 3. So those are his splits. So, you can't ask for any better than that, really. He always hit shots at the biggest moments for us, mid-range 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Game 2, the interesting thing was in the fourth quarter – it was really just Pritchard and Jaylen Brown just took over the game. That was in Game 2. Obviously, we've recapped since then. But I remember being at Fenway or whatever, and I was watching the game with Mark Walsh. And that was something I didn't talk about on the show on Saturday, which I wish I mentioned, was we have so many guys. Obviously, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, people talk about taking over a game. But all our role players put together can, add up to another star. Like I was saying about the Clippers, all their depth pieces
everyone on that bench
adds
can give
up
you 15
to a star.
in a game.
That's the thing, though. So I think with the Celtics, in years past, the role players were definitely an issue. And that's the thing. I think when it comes to the Celtics this year, it seems like a different team. Obviously, they have the leadership. Obviously, guys are a little bit more older now. Having Al Horford back, having a veteran presence on the floor with him, Marcus Smart. He's really gelled into a veteran on the team. I think it definitely has a different feel to it.
Defense, too, especially down the stretch of Game 1. I know I already mentioned that in the last episode, but just the entire series guarding Kyrie. He played great.
Yeah.
Just holding Kyrie to, the way he shot. So poorly throughout the whole entire series. A lot of that came from Marcus Smart's defense.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think with the Celtics, if we're going to play Milwaukee, which, more likely than not, right? It's probably 95% chance.
Yeah, they got to win tonight, the Bucks.
Yeah.
I would think.
Probably should.
Game 5 in Milwaukee.
I know I was very critical of the Celtics beforehand. My friend Matt called in, which he was spot on. I had him call in the Wednesday before Easter break. Obviously, he didn't record, unfortunately, but he came in with 25 minutes of straight facts and great analysis. And he was saying that it's easy because I was telling him I thought the Nets would win in 6. And then he said Rob Williams is coming back. I said Nets in 7. And I'm honest about being wrong about it. That's the thing about hot takes is you're not always going to be right. People know how I feel about the Clippers. You're not always going to be right about things. But the one thing, though, is you're a Celtics fan. I was giving my honest opinion. With the Celtics winning, though, I guess it makes it that much better when I didn't expect them. I did buy into Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, those two big names. Matt came on and said it's very easy to buy into the big names and say, Kevin Durant's the other team, so there's no chance we can win. And I was a victim of that 100%. He was spot on about it. He said it's easy to win the name game. And he said the Celtics in 6 originally, I think. So he was a lot closer than I was.
I had Celtics in 6, too, originally. Then I switched to Celtics in 5 after Game 2.
He had the Celtics in 6, and my friend Timmy had Celtics in 7, I believe. And I had Nets in 7. But that's the thing. I did definitely get too much involved, I guess, in the name game. And Kevin Durant did not look like Kevin Durant the first couple games, really. And the first game, things just went in and out on him. Second game didn't look like him. Third game didn't look like him. He had 1,000 free throws.
There was a defense, too, though. Every single possession he was being it was just so physical, the defense from Tatum, Grant Williams, and Horford, really. They were in his face on every single possession, and they didn't give him a break. So I think a lot of credit has to come from the defense, too. Yeah, especially in the whole playoff series, too. He's never had that kind of defense where he can't even get a clean shot off for pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
I think just about everything he took was contested, give or take a couple of threes.
That was the thing. We both highlighted that when I had him on. I said, Kevin Durant's going to hit some of his shots. We know he's going to make a ton of ridiculous shots, but what you want to do is just really slow him down, try to contain him, make every single shot he's to take hard on him. And I know after Game 1, Game 2, I started picking up this defense wasn't just a fluke thing. It was just they were playing great defense. It's a great system. And then obviously that showed later on in Games 3 and 4 that even in crunch time, when Durant usually killed us like last year and killed a bunch of games last year in the playoffs, not even just against the Celtics, but in general, he just took over games in the fourth quarter. That's something he didn't do, obviously, in this series against the Celtics. But I give Durant credit. One thing I do give him credit is that he did show up and play this entire year. Obviously, James Harden had his issues, wanted out. Ben Simmons comes in, doesn't want to play Game 4, didn't want to play this season. Kyrie had his issues with the vaccine.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise, and Durant's been constant on that team. Yeah.
He played. And I give a lot of credit. I know I've talked a ton on this show about, a lot of my teams that I pick, whether it be like the Clippers like I've talked about before, or even the New York Giants, even, back when we were really good, they just had a lot of dogs on that defense in 2011. It takes a team obviously, to try to win games. And Durant really didn't have too much of a team around this whole year just because he had all the noise, like you were saying, and everything. So I give him credit for showing up and playing. I mean, Kyrie looked like he didn't want to be there. To a certain extent.
Yeah, especially Game 4. I mean, we saw that video of him walking in. He looked like he was just ready to get out of there before the game even started. So
it's like you walk into class you're not a fan of.
I think it was after Game 1. We just never saw the same energy from him again. Game 1, he's flipping off the fans in the garden and everything, and then after that point, we just never really saw him really get into it. Because he was unconscious in that game coming down the stretch. I thought when he started hitting those ridiculous... Yeah, he hit 39. Those threes he was hitting in the fourth quarter were just ridiculous. I didn't think we were going to come out of that game on top, but I think that was really a huge momentum shift for the series, finding a way to overcome that, and then, the electric Tatum buzzer beater. That was a huge confidence swing for the Celtics.
And he was cold. Over the first game was 39, but then the next 3, 10 points, 16 points, and 20 points off 4 13, 6 of 17, 6 of 13 shooting. His 3-pointers were brutal in game 3. It was 0 for 7. Only a couple of them were on line. It wasn't even like they were in and out. A lot of Durant shots, for the most part, good amount of them in the first game were in and out. Stuff just wasn't going down. Kyrie just did not have it. Games 2 and 3. I do think, to a certain extent, which I'm not a Kyrie Irving fan whatsoever, I do think to the extent that he is criticized by Boston, I think we just got to be happy with winning games and let it go. I don't understand I understand you're going to criticize.
I like the booze whenever he gets the ball.
I think it gets to be a little too much. Let's just focus on the game and be happy with winning rather than just criticize us to the extent we are. I'm not a Kyrie Irving fan whatsoever. I just thought I think Boston fans got to let it go at some point. I'm not a fan of him. I was always an Isaiah Thomas guy.
Well, I think now it's going to be different now that we beat them already in a title. But Last year he came into the Garden. The last time he played, he stomped on Lucky. The last time he was in the Garden. So I think this series, all the booing was deserved.
I'm not giving him any excuses. I do think to a certain extent that we just got to let it go now at this point. I know
after we swept them, it's a little different, but. Last year, they were.
I'm sure they're still
better
booing.
now, so
they'll still boom next year, but
I don't think it'll be to the same extent it was this series. That was the first time we really faced him since the Lucky incident. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of guys really getting heckled too much, which I've talked about before. So I'm not too big of a fan of that. I do not see plus play. But I think to a certain extent, I think it gets to be too much. Obviously, he's gone. We're in a better team. We're a better team now than we would have been with him. I think, honestly, now.
Definitely.
So I think things worked out for us.
Ball movement, it's all different now.
Obviously, I don't agree with him flipping off the Boston fans. I don't agree with him stepping on the logo. I don't agree with him, saying, all his expletives out loud to the fans and everything. But I think to a certain extent now we just got to let it go and just be happy that we beat him. At Fenway, they were yelling F Kyrie and all that, which, I understand fans get into it and everything, but I think we got to let it go at some point, personally. But I know not every
I think that's going to be next year when,
I think
from now on, after we beat them in the dramatic fashion that we did, 4-0.
Yeah,
I think now it's going to be different now that the Celtics kind of have control over the Nets.
Because that was a whole storyline. Even on ESPN every day, it was Kyrie versus the Celtics. Obviously, Kyrie Irving is a dramatic figure on his own. It's obviously a lot of storylines you can get out of him, so that's why they talk about him a ton every single day. But it's always Kyrie versus Celtics, which at the end of the day, I always talk about it being a team game, which I've discussed. And
definitely is.
I'd rather just be happy to beat the Nets rather than just being Kyrie. You know what I mean? But
one thing I was kind of shocked by was before Game 4. I remember he was. In a press conference, I think it was after a practice, and they were asking him, you've been here before, you were down 3-1 with the Cavs, what are you going to take from this, and hope to come back, and he said something like, this is totally different, we're in a tougher situation or something like that. It just seemed like he had checked out completely almost, like he was preparing to lose, so.
Which I don't like that either, I'm not a fan of that. Me and my teams have.
It's kind of like him, his last year at the Celtics when they were playing the Bucks, all of a sudden, we crushed them Game 1, and then Games 2 through 5 were awful, and he just kind of quit on the team.
He must have been in that series or something. I've never seen a player just quit. Whatever his deal was. Which who knows what it is. At the end of the day, you'll never know. He'll probably write a book one day because he's,
Yeah, it's right up his alley, probably. Yeah, he'll probably write a book just off the top of his head.
Yeah, he's had a ton of stories. But obviously, so now the Celtics would probably play Milwaukee, it's looking like, which right now they're up, 3-1 in the series?
Yeah, game tonight. So
it looks like they'll be playing Milwaukee.
Milwaukee will probably close it out, and then that's a big round 2 matchup. That's two tough teams. Yeah, no Chris Middleton, but still,
Middleton's a big
that's
loss.
an extremely deep team in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Pat Connaughton's been really good. Obviously, Giannis, superstar in his own. I think the headline in that series will probably be Giannis or Jason Tatum, obviously, but I think the role players will play a big
I think it's really going to be our bench versus their bench at the end of the day.
Which they have a lot of talent.
They do. I think they probably have.
Bottom. We both pretty have.
We probably the 2 best benches in the NBA, realistically.
Clippers all day. I'm not even. I can't
on.
even argue that. I'm not even argue that point.
The Clippers bench was healthy all year.
They were 42 and 40 without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Norman Powell. 42 and 40 in the West. You can say what you want about the West. It's impressive they were over 500 without their two best players. I mean, Kawhi and
It's a good record, but you could say the same thing about the Celtics.
They have the best depth. Come on,
back in 2018 when we got our best two players hurt,
God,
and we were still, what, 3 seed? Or
if people don't think the Clippers have the best record, the best depth in the NBA.
We didn't have the best depth in the NBA that year.
The Clippers at 1,000%. I wouldn't even argue it. I wouldn't even argue. I don't think it's a question. Their depth is unreal, and that's why Sam Presti highlighted he thinks the Clippers are going to win not just one championship, multiple championships, and that comes from Oklahoma City's GM, one of the most advanced GMs in the league, because he's all about draft picks and everything's all about building for the future. He said that they're built to win.
We'll see if it works out, though.
I think they'll both be healthy next year, Kawhi and Paul George. I think the Clippers win next year, the NBA Finals, if they're all healthy.
If they're all healthy, that's a huge if they have Paul George and Kawhi.
Big fan of that team, big fan of the way they play.
They stay healthy and stay together for an entire season.
Clips in 16 next year. Four straight sweeps. Clips in 16. I'm taking Clips in 16 next year. They're winning the NBA Finals.
I got one of them out for at least months, and one of them not playing in the playoffs. So
as long as they're healthy by the playoffs, I mean, if Kawhi came back this year, it would have been a different story. Obviously, Paul George got COVID the day of. Was just the way the season went for the Clippers all year. Everyone was always hurt, but I don't think it's arguable what team has a better bench. I think the Clippers by far are the best bench in the NBA. Best.
All right, let's go back to the Celtics Bucks.
But Clips next year in 16. You got my 2022, 2023 NBA Finals predictions. Give me
Clippers
the
Bucks. All right.
Clippers. Not Bucks. Clippers. I didn't have the Bucks. I did Clippers in general. Winning in 16. Legit dogs. I love that team. Absolute dogs. That Clipper mentality. It's unlike any other team in
All right,
sports.
let's go back to the Celtics. So going to be a big matchup next series. Like you said, Milwaukee, best depth in the league besides the Celtics and your Clips, I guess. But I mean, there's just so many guys that can shoot the three ball. I mean, they're just so talented. They play very similar to the Celtics. Besides, I mean, obviously Giannis in terms of their ball movement and defense, both are extremely sound. I mean, Drew Holiday, he's a great point guard, and I think him versus Marcus Smart's going to be a really interesting matchup. Probably the most interesting matchup of the entire series. Two great defensive point guards that, I mean, after this year with Marcus Smart's improved ball movement and court vision and everything, I think they're kind of equal on both ends in that sense. Both good playmakers, both solid shooters from deep. And then the Bucks got plenty of big men, too. They got Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Serge Ibaka. They got a bunch of guys. Pod Connaughton, if you want to call him that. Just a ton of guys that can play that are big and physical. Similar to the Celtics.
He gets rebounds. He's big, 6'5", probably 6'6".
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does get boards, too.
He gets in there.
That's going to be a good match with the Celtics for guys like Grant Williams, Al Horford, Tice.
Definitely.
Hopefully Williams is back to being in the starting lineup next round. So I think it's definitely going to be a great series. But my bet is going to be Celtics in 6. I think the Bucks are going to give a bigger challenge to the Celtics just because of the way they're built. They play much more of a team game, which I think is going to be harder for us to stop rather than just having to focus on two guys mainly. But I still think we're the better team. We're deeper. We're more hot right now. We really do have the best defense in the league, and everyone's finally waking up and realizing that. So I'm taking the Celtics in 6.
I'll go Celtics in 7. I think it'll be a good series. If Chris Middleton was playing, they'd be a little bit different. I think Celtics might still win the series, but the 7 games would be very hot. I think Celtics can win a couple games by more than a couple points. I know against the Nets, I thought the games we would win would be close games. Obviously, a lot of them were. I think these games will be close. But I think without Chris Middleton, I think we can maybe pull away in a couple games. I think he's a big piece. Obviously, the reason they won last year.
They don't really have any. They don't have any late game scorers besides Giannis now.
And Middleton was great in the NBA Finals. He stepped up a couple games.
Yeah, he's a huge late game scorer. So
he had a couple really.
Them only really having one legit option at the end of the game. It's just a guy that you can say go get a bucket. I mean, they really just have Giannis at this point. We got Tatum and Brown are obviously A1 and A2. But I mean, you got guys like Al Horford, we've seen him score. I mean, he's not going to create his own shot, but Smart, Pritchard. I mean, the team's just so deep. We have so many guys that can score offensively. I think that's going to be the difference maker. And actually, I want to change my prediction to Celtics in 5.
All right, respect that. I got Celtics in 6. Celtics in 7, excuse me. And also, me and Zach, before the NBA playoffs started, after the top 8 seeds were out, we both had our predictions. I think I had. This is before Middleton's injury, I believe, right now. Middleton got hurt in the series, and he got game 1 or 2. I think he did. So before Middleton's injury, I did have Milwaukee Bucks over Golden State in 6 games. I think Golden State's the team to win the West right now. They're unreal. I really like the way Minnesota plays.
Right now too.
Teams that play like the Clips left, Minnesota.
I like the way Minnesota plays, but I think the Grizzlies just play the exact same way as them. I mean, they're both 2 top physical teams. They'll have
both young, 2 youngest teams in the NBA.
But the Grizzlies just have a little bit more talent right now, so I think that's going to push them over the edge of this series. Probably in 7 games. But either way, I had the Grizzlies in 7 that series. I mean, the T-Wolves got a lot of hard, tough players. They play really well as a team as well. They're a scrappy team. So
I mean, I think I'll take the Timberwolves in 7 still. Big fan of Anthony Edwards. I think he's going to be. I think he's a future in the NBA. I think he's a future MVP.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable.
I think he's a future top 5 player in the league.
Can score from anywhere. Super athletic.
He'll be a top 10 player in the NBA in my eyes within the next season or so. I think he has that ability. Electric down the floor, running with the ball down the lane. Great on defense. He hustles. Obviously very young. He's only 21 years old.
Hilarious.
Can shoot threes. He's a comedian. He's got a great personality. You can't not root for him. I know going into the
fun
draft.
To watch. I mean, he's a likable guy too.
Oh, he should have been.
I'm a fan of watching him.
He should have been Rookie of the Year over LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball only won it because of his name. He also played, 20 games less than Anthony Edwards did. Anthony Edwards had more points. No, it's not all about points. But the NBA, NFL, MLB, it's always about who hits the most home runs, throws the most touchdowns, who scores the most points. That's what the awards are always about. But obviously, they give it LaMelo Ball because of the name.
A little bit, yeah.
And a popularity contest, too. And LaMelo Ball obviously wins that because everyone's been talking about his family since, 2015, 16 because of LaMelo.
Ever since Lonzo was in high school.
Excuse me, Lonzo. So that's the thing. I think he deserved that. But, I mean, he said he's not all about a Rookie of the Year. He wants more than that. He wants an MVP. He wants to. He's not about
like that
awards.
mentality. Yeah,
he wants to win NBA Finals. He said, but I think they asked him something about were you down about losing the Rookie of the Year? And he said he has his eyes on bigger things. And obviously, making the NBA playoffs with the Minnesota Timberwolves when they haven't made it for how many years? I mean, especially being competitive.
They haven't been competitive in the playoffs forever. They were the 8th seed a couple years ago versus the Rockets. I want to say that was 2018.
Yeah,
that's the last I remember.
And now they're a really good team
in the bubble.
So very electric team. Excited to see how he does in the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, even if they were to lose,
either way, I don't think the winner of that Grizzlies T-Wolves series is getting past the Warriors. They're just too hot right now.
The Warriors are too good.
Watching that team, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, unbelievable. Jordan Poole became one of my new favorite players just watching him. He's super talented, great shooter, can drive, makes good passes. I mean, he's just fun to watch, that guy too. So right now, I'm taking the Celtics Warriors in the finals. I originally had the Suns in 7 when I made my bracket over the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, but I'm switching that up to Warriors in 6. I think the Suns are struggling right now without D-Buck a little bit, but he'll be back in a couple weeks, so I definitely think they're still going to make the Western Conference Finals. And that would be a great matchup as well. I mean, two teams that played really well and have unbelievable ball moving and put up 150 points in any given night. But I just think the Warriors have better shooting, and they're a little bit more deep than the Suns. But either way, it's going to be a great series. The Suns are a great team, too, and still a legit option to win the entire series. I mean, we saw just everyone on that team can step up and have a big night. We saw Mikal Bridges the other night. I want to say he had 31 points, taking down the Pelicans without Devin Booker in a super close game, too. That one really went down the stretch, and it was anyone's game at the end of that one. So right now I got Warriors coming out of the West, but I think the Suns have a legit shot to make it as well.
Definitely. I think my original prediction was in the West Conference Finals, Golden State over Phoenix in 6. If Devin Booker were to stay out, which he'll be back at some point.
He'll be back before the Western Conference Finals.
I think they win it handily, Golden State, even with or without him. And my original prediction was Milwaukee in 6 over Golden State. I think Golden State right now, in my eyes, with how good their offense has been, obviously the Celtics defense, it'd be very cool to see the Celtics defense, versus the Warriors offense, because Celtics have been playing very aggressive defense, obviously, and stopping Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is not an easy task whatsoever. But stopping Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, now those are all shooters rather than drivers. It would definitely be a challenge. I think it'd be a really fun series
Kyrie
to watch.
and KD are shooters too.
They love driving down the lane more than Klay Thompson does. Klay Thompson doesn't go down the lane too often. That's the thing. So I think right now I think Golden State is my favorite to win the NBA Finals. With how good they've been playing, I think the Celtics versus them would be a very fun series.
That'd be a great series.
As I said, I had Milwaukee originally. I don't know. I'm not going to change our bracket too much. I guess. As I said, I think the Celtics could win the series against Milwaukee in 7. So I guess in that case, it'd be Celtics versus either Philly or Miami. I don't even know.
In the Eastern Conference Finals?
I liked Philly heavily.
I picked Philly originally, but Miami looks good even against a beat-up Atlanta team. The way Philly is looking right now, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors take that series. I know it's 3-2 right now. I think they're playing again tomorrow night, but I mean, just the way the Raptors dismantled Philly in their own home last night. I think it was last night, or was it 2 nights ago?
2 nights, I think, yeah.
I mean, it was just kind of embarrassing to see the Sixers just flop like that. And I think that's a huge momentum shift, especially for a young team like the Raptors, who I've kind of been a fan of. I actually had the Sixers in 7 coming out of that series, I want to say. No, Sixers in 6, my bad. But just the way the momentum looks for that young Raptors team right now. I think they can make it out of that series. And then I think the Miami Heat, the way they look right now, I mean, they got so many guys too. They're just built to have 8 or 9 different guys that can put up 15 points in any night. And all of them can play defense too. With Victor Oladipo coming back, he's healthy. He's looked good last night. I think that Heat team is going to face the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, good series.
It'll be a good matchup, rematch of the bubble. So Eastern Conference Finals again.
Yeah, absolutely. Be a good series. Obviously, the Celtics.
Very different teams on both sides, though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Very different matchup.
I think the Celtics obviously got to beat the Bucks first. That's why I wasn't making too many predictions. I think Golden State wins the West handedly. I can say that.
We're gonna have a tough series against the Bucks and hypothetically the Heat. I'm just saying, based on my prediction of the Bucks series, Celtics in 6.
Mm-hmm. I get that. Yeah, it's not a bad prediction. Obviously, especially since it'd be great offense versus great defense. It'd be fun to watch. As the NBA make a lot of money off it. I'm sure they'd be psyched. Steph Curry's just unreal to watch. I mean, I was always not critical of him. I was a very good player. I wasn't too big of a fan of just pulling up from half court because I mean he does make a lot of them, but when he misses, it's like, dude, you got to take 5 steps in, take 10 steps in. But now he drills.
But then he starts making them,
and
it's like, okay,
he drills it. I wasn't a fan if he misses, but if he drills it, I mean, what's the problem? My brother Paul's the biggest fan of him, and I respect that. Steph's a great player and electric to watch. So it'd be a great NBA Finals to watch. Superstar, obviously, he's been a superstar for 10 years now. But I'd be definitely excited to see how the Celtics would fare against him and how he'd fare against the Celtics defense. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be a really great match. It'd be back and forth the entire time.
Yeah,
you got great scores on both sides. Both teams play great defense. Both teams have great ball movement. Both teams are pretty deep. I'd say the Celtics have a better bench than them. But either way, just a battle of superstars.
Yeah,
which is really what you want to see in the finals. I think that'd be an exciting matchup. And 2 new teams. I mean, obviously we saw Golden State 5 times in a row, 2015 through 2019. But I think this series would be a little bit different. I mean, you got a new look Warriors team, obviously a Celtics team that hasn't made it since the Paul Pierce days. So I think it'd definitely be a refreshing finals matchup for NBA fans too, just in general.
Definitely. You got anything else to say? We can move on to Jameel's really quick before we get to the NFL draft. If you don't.
Yeah, you want to Jameel? So
really quick before we get to the NFL. We'll have a ton to talk about the NFL, obviously, and then Mike Hurley about the Bruins. I'll talk about the NFL draft. Israel softball update: 2-1 record in the regular season. 50-6 win on Monday night was huge.
Joey lights out shortstop. Come on, he had 5 or 6 big plays. Actually, Jason Matry from BC Football came up to him after the game and said, I don't know if I can say it on air, but he said good stuff.
Yeah, he's a good stuff. I mean, I was talking to the dugout from the dugout. I was saying thank you to the umps or whatever. They're students. They ump the games. I said thank you guys. Have a good night. Appreciate everything. And he was watching the other team because there were a couple of defensive backs that were playing. He wasn't, but so he said to me, hey, good game,
one
bro.
Had a gun.
He said good game. Yeah, one of them had a cannon. You were a victim of that.
From right field. Yeah, I got sniped at third base.
Some cannon gun of an But anyways, he ended up saying, hey, good game, bro. You play well out there. And I said thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And then I wasn't going to run over to him. But I was like, dude, Jason Major said, what's good? I got to go over. So I ran over and I was like, hey, dude, I'm a big fan of you at safety. Can't wait to have you back healthy next year. It's going to be, a big season, obviously. And we went back and forth very quickly for a minute or so. Talked about Rob DiLoretto, Everett High's football coach, who is the offensive assistant at the time. Now he's the head coach. He was the offensive assistant at the time when he was there. So we talked with him very quickly. Obviously, was a big fan of him. Who isn't? Rob DiLoretto is an absolute legend. Corey DiLoretto, his son, is back in the lineup today. Northeast Baseball needed him back. Been missing him heavily over the last 7 or 8 games or so now. But yeah, it was cool having Major come over and say what's up. But as I said, I mean, everyone would say it was great plays. It's a team game, like Stellwagen softball, my Quincy games, which I talked a little bit about on Saturday on our podcast. I put it online. A lot of them were saying after I made a couple plays, like, oh, dude, unreal defense, MVP up. And I said, hey,
yeah, you were lights out at shortstop in the softball game. I mean, you had 5 or 6 big plays.
Hey, it's a team game at the end of the day. We scored 15 runs. And same thing in the Quincy game last week. I think we won 16-7 or whatever it was. And it's defense that wins games as a team. Collective defense, collective offense. And I always say if there's a ball within my direction whatsoever, I'm always going to dive. It's the way I play. The Clippers. Everyone knows the way I style. I like my sports. And there was that ball up the middle. Actually, both
helped us out big time on defense. We only gave up 6 runs.
You pitched great. I mean, you had a couple comebackers at you. Didn't walk any guys really, except that one kid that wanted to walk. He was trying to walk. Will obviously played a role in him striking out, which was great.
That was big for the team,
which we needed. But that's the thing, though. I think at the end of the day, if there's any ball that's in my direction, there was one up the middle, and which one of them was a rocket, like a 1-bounce rocket in the BC one, and I just kind of stuck my glove out, threw the ball at a first. And then, obviously, if you make a big play, everyone gets going. You need that energy. You need to get everyone going, especially when it's a close game. I think at the time, I had a diving play at the middle of the 5th or 6th inning, we were already up. But it brings energy making big plays. So I always try my hardest. If I can get a ball, even knock it down, stop a base, if it goes to the outfield, usually they get 2 bases sometimes. I always try to knock it down, at least try to stop them from getting 2. But it's a team game at the end of the day. So I remember the Stellwagen last week. They were all saying you played unreal on defense and made some crazy plays and everything. But I always say, hey, we scored 15 runs. We're a team. We're a team before we're an individual. So I know you guys highlighted.
You had a couple big hits too for us. So
hey, I mean, no Barons was there. So someone had to get some hits. You were 3.
Yeah, someone had to step up.
You were what, 3 of 5, 3 of 4, 2
3
of
or
4,
4.
3 or 4. There you go, solid night. Jack Flaherty had a couple big hits.
Yeah, Jack
we had some
Flaherty
criticism for you two at the plate. You guys went 6 of 8 together. Or
yeah,
6 of 9.
Star third baseman supposedly wanted to
cut you guys out.
He wanted DH over me and Jack Flaherty, but we stepped up this game.
6 of 9 together combined, which was great. I don't know what I was, but our room was pretty good. I think I was like 3 of 5. I think I got on base on the field of stories once, but that doesn't count as on base.
10 on 9s on the come up.
Whatever that was, we got on base probably 9 times out of our 15 at bats, which is pretty impressive. So 2K 10 on 9, well represented. Obviously with Dan, it'd be a better
it'd be even
match.
better, yeah. It'd be just as good. I mean,
it'd
be probably 15 for 20 or something.
Definitely. So we got our playoffs next week. Bracket's not out yet. We'll update you guys how that goes. Stellwagen softball. Last night our game was canceled, unfortunately, because of the rain. I was psyched to be able to have a game on a Tuesday, so I could recap it on a Wednesday. Unfortunately, the game was rained out, so not too much to update about Stellwagen. But I told them they're always welcome to call in, so we'll talk about how we're doing the games and how they're playing and everything at some point soon, hopefully. Wiffle ball.
Yeah, wiffle ball too.
Tomorrow night.
Big playoff game tomorrow night.
I won't be there.
Despite only having 1 regular season game because of inclement weather, we had 2 canceled. We have a quarterfinal playoff game tomorrow night. Dan Barons has been throwing aces on the mound.
Yeah,
he really keeps the team in the game. I mean, our hitting is solid, but I mean, Dan on the mound is unconscious. So yeah, it's tough because we play right next to the Chestnut Hill Reservoir. It's ridiculous.
You got the wind there, dude. It's nuts.
Yeah, you can't throw a ball. You can't hit it. I mean, it goes like 5 feet. If you hit it, pop fly in the air, it's going to come right back at you. So
yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's not even worth even trying at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even try to swing up. When Dan's on 96, man, that's not even swing because the ball's going 1,000 miles an hour at you too.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Going each which way, and it's just nuts. Playing that kind of wind.
Hey, that's the way Barons plays.
Right next to the road too. If you ever throw, you got to run through the cars to go get the ball. It's stressful. So see what happens. So I think we can pull it off. All we need is 3 wins, and the boys get a mug. So
yeah, could use it.
Can figure out something. I mean, softball too. We'd have at most 3 games to win the whole thing. So
it'd be cool.
Got to get a shot for 1 mug. We'll have to update everyone next week.
Definitely.
Big week of intramural sports coming up. We've never won one, so this is huge for us.
Absolutely. So. Obviously, intramural flag football, we actually just forfeited that game since we had softball on the same night. Now we get some NFL draft. Anything else you want to add?
Let's get into it. NFL draft. Let's go.
I'm going to give a quick. So I've given 2 mock drafts, 2 top 10 mock drafts over the last couple episodes. Obviously, 2 Wednesdays ago, didn't record. So my last episode on Saturday that we just recorded, I talked about who I had originally and then my change pick. Now I'm going to give a quick rundown of my top. All 32. I'm not going to go in depth on every play since I've already done that for the most part, the top 10 at least. But I'm just going to quick rundown of who I think can go where. Number 1, Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher from Michigan, going to Jacksonville. I got number 2, Trayvon Walker, edge rusher from Georgia, going to the Detroit Lions. I also did no trades in this. Obviously, trades are going to happen. But I think trades, when you try to predict trades, it gets
trying to predict trades at the mock draft is impossible.
So I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going with who I think is going to go where pick wise, whether it's a team at, let's say the Houston Texans taking Evan Neal at 3 off the tackle for Alabama, whether or not he goes there at 3 or they trade down, let's say at 6 and get him there, who knows? I mean, I think he goes there is what I'm saying. I'm not doing any trades. 4th pick, I got Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati going to the New York Jets. I want him on the Giants. I think he's too good for the Jets to pass up, especially in that division where Tyreek Hill is now on Miami. The Bills have a ton of weapons. Obviously, the Patriots probably will draft another wide receiver at some point. They need a corner that's going to be a lockdown for that division.
Yeah, Pats will probably grab a corner first round.
Or wide out.
I like, what's his name from Clemson? Gotta figure it out. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, no, I have him actually. Andrew Booth's his name. I have him going to Philadelphia at 18. So Sauce Gardner, I think, is the best corner in this draft. Lockdown. I love him on the Giants. I think he goes 4 to the Jets. The Jets pick's interesting, though, because I'm now reading that Mekhi Becton could be on his way out and might never play another game for the Jets. So in that case, they could even go Ken McQuanu at 4, and then Sauce Gardner falls to 5 to the Giants. I mean, it's going to be nuts. If the Giants could somehow land Sauce or Kayvon Thibodeau or Ken McQuanu, 2 of those 3, I will be in tears with how much joy I'll have. I would love having 2 of those guys. So
that'd be unreal for you guys. Those would be 2 huge picks.
Could use it. So I got Sauce Gardner going 4 to the New York Jets. 5th pick, Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rush from Oregon, going to the Giants. I know he's got his personality issues. I think the Giants can't pass him up, though. We obviously have our issues in the locker room. Kadarius Toney, Odell in the pass, Eli Apple. Janoris Jenkins. We've had our issues with guys in the locker room. I think Kayvon Thibodeau's too good to pass up, and we've needed an edge rusher now for 5 years, so I think you got to take him there. Malik Willis, 6th overall, quarterback from Liberty, going to the Carolina Panthers. I don't think any quarterbacks were at the top 10 pick. As I said, this will be the first draft if there's no quarterback in the top 10 since 2013 that there's not a top 10 quarterback pick taken in the top 10, which would be interesting, but I do think I think Malik Willis can go 6th to Carolina. 7th, I get a Kemakwanu, NC State, offensive tackle to the New York Giants. I would love that. I think he's the best tackle in this draft. 8th, Garrett Wilson, Ohio State wide receiver. Speedy, flashy wideout, can make big plays, very versatile and agile. Atlanta needs that. Obviously, with Calvin Ridley being out for the year. I got him going 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. 9, I got Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback from LSU, going to the Seattle Seahawks. 10, Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State, going to the New York Jets. The Jets obviously have their issues with Mekhi Becton. They've taken 2 straight years of offensive linemen. Elijah Vera Tucker last year in the first round, and then 2 years ago, Mekhi Becton. And now this, I got them taking Charles Cross. I think he falls to 10 to them. And obviously, if Mekhi Becton's not going to play for them, they're going to need another tackle. 11, Jamison Williams, wide receiver, Alabama, going 11 overall to the Washington football team. Washington Generals now, right? Washington Generals. I think he's a very good player. Obviously, he had his injury within the college football playoffs, but I do think with how great of a player he is, speed-wise, separation-wise, Washington needs that, especially if they're going to be trading. I don't think they're going to trade Terry McLaurin, but he's been in trade talks, I guess. So if they were to trade him, they're going to need a wideout. And obviously, James Williams helps you spread over the top heavily, even if you keep Terry McLaurin. 12, Trent McDuffie. Surprise pick here. I have him going to the Minnesota Vikings, cornerback from Washington. I think the thing with Minnesota is they need a cornerback. They've needed one now for a few years, especially with their cornerbacks getting older like Patrick Peterson. So I think they take Trent McDuffie. Surprise pick there at 12, but with Sauce Gardner being gone, Derek Stingley Jr. is the best cornerback available. 13, Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame, going to the Texans. Very versatile safety. I've talked about they need him. 14, Jordan Davis, defensive tackle from Georgia, going to the Baltimore Ravens. 15, Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State, going to the Philadelphia Eagles. 16, Trevor Penning, not a tackle I'm a big fan of, from Northern Iowa. Didn't have too great combine showing. He's gotten beat at times, but New Orleans Saints need a tackle, and he very well could be their pick at 16. 17, Jermaine Johnson, edge rush from Florida State, transfer from Georgia. Very good edge rush. I am falling to 17, just because I feel like there's a drop-off within the talent from Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm. Some people are calling for him to go pretty high. I mean, I've seen a couple mock drafts him going top 5.
Yeah, the Giants at one of them. I don't want him in the top 10.
Yeah, this one right here I'm looking at.
Yeah.
They got him at 7.
Not a big fan of that, but who knows? He could be the pick. Jermaine Johnson, as I said, 17 to the LA Chargers. They obviously could use another edge rusher. I don't think they need one. I think if you draft him, though, we're having Nakobe Dean going later on as well to the Buffalo Bills, you can't never have too much talent. You can never have too much talent on a defense. Obviously, the Chargers got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson now in the offseason. If you had Jermaine Johnson another edge rusher, it's going to be wild. So I have him going 17. Obviously, need a defensive tackle, maybe another wideout. But I have them taking him at 17. 18, I got Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback from Clemson, going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Darius Slay's there. They could use another cornerback. He'd step in and be their second cornerback right away. When you already have a great number 1 cornerback, your number 2 cornerback becomes your number 3 cornerback with the addition of Andrew Booth Jr. So you just have an even better number 3 cornerback than you would have before. So I think they take him at 18.
Secondary.
Very good guy. A very good cornerback at Clemson. Started 2 years, I believe, off the top of my head. They could use him. George Karlaftis, 19th overall pick, edge rush from Purdue. I have him going to the New Orleans Saints. Thing with Karlaftis, I saw him going top 10. Just like I had Tyler Linderbaum going top 10 in January. Both of those guys fell out now, whether it was because of the combine, just because the center's not valued as much in Linderbaum's case. I got Karlaftis going 19 overall to the New Orleans Saints. Would be a great pickup off the edge for them. They could use another pass rusher, obviously, with Cam Jordan getting older and obviously being a rebuilding team. They definitely could use, which they could go quarterback too. There's a chance they could go quarterback, but I have them taking Karlaftis at 19. 20th overall, Kenny Pickett, quarterback, Pittsburgh, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, I'm not too big a fan of either quarterback. I think Willis is the best one out of them. I think Pickett falls to 20. Pittsburgh guy going to the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a good pickup for them, obviously, with them losing Big Ben and really only having Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky as their quarterbacks. They could use them.
Yeah, they need a QB bad.
21 overall, very athletic linebacker, Devin Lloyd from Utah going to the New England Patriots. Patriots definitely could use either linebacker, cornerback, wideout. It's going to be one of those 3 in my eyes.
Even I'm a big fan of Lloyd. I don't know if linebackers are their biggest need, but I think
it's a need with guys getting older. Judon was not visible in the last 6 games of the season. Did nothing. towards the end of the season. So you can never have too much help there. And obviously, Dante Hightower's getting older. I think Devin Lloyd would be a great pickup. I think even Nakobe Dean, which I know Mike Hurley's a big fan of him, I think Nakobe Dean
I'm a fan of Nakobe
would be
Dean.
a great pickup. I'd love him to trade down.
I'd rather see the Pats go on the defensive back route.
There's a chance.
But, I mean,
there's a chance. I think wideout's more
Dean
likely. Obviously, a cornerback could be used. Kyer Elam would be a great pickup for them. If they were to get Lewis Seen, safety, would be a great pickup. I'm a big fan of Lewis Seen in Everett, Massachusetts. Everett High football player, former Everett High football player in the draft from Georgia. So 21, I got Devin Lloyd going to the Patriots. Very good linebacker. I think it could be Nakobe Dean. I think Lloyd fits this Patriots system a little better. 22, Drake London, wide receiver from USC, going to Green Bay. Green Bay needs another wide receiver. Obviously, with them trading Devontae Adams, wide receiver is a huge need with Marquez Valdez-Scantling leaving and them just having Alan Lazard and Sammy Watkins as their only wideouts. They need a wideout. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 2 wideouts with their 2 first-rounders. This is also, as a first year, they have 8 teams have multiple first-round picks, and there's also 8 teams without a first-round pick. So that's actually the first time. It's an NFL record for both. 8 teams with multiple first-rounders, and then 8 teams without a first-rounder. So teams can actually double up. If Green Bay want to fix their wide receiver issues, they could go wide receiver, which I don't think they'll do, but it'd be electric if they did for Aaron Rodgers' case, since obviously now they got him in a bigger deal.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see 2 big-name receivers come back to Green
Bay.
Definitely, yeah.
23, Arnold Ebiketie going from Penn State to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona losing Chandler Jones. Devin could use another edge rusher now. He'd be great off the edge. I mean, the Cardinals can go in multiple directions since they already have a quarterback. I know Kyler's had his issues. I think they keep him. They lost Christian Kirk. I don't think wide receiver is too big of a need for them, though. It's DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green coming back. I think they go edge here. They could use it. Maybe even use another guy in the secondary. 24 overall, Zion Johnson, offensive guard from Boston College. Obviously, we've highlighted him before.
Big fan of him. I think he's extremely underrated.
I think he's the first interior offensive lineman taken. I have him going 24 to the Dallas Cowboys, who now needed offensive line help. They haven't needed for 10 years. Big fan of him. 25, Nakobe Dean. One of my favorite linebackers, one of my favorite players in this draft, going to the Buffalo Bills. You can never have too much talent on defense, and that defense would just be unreal. And they'll need it since the AFC West has been stacking. For the Buffalo Bills to get to the Super Bowl, they'll have to go through some team, the AFC West, realistically. So you're never going to have too much help on your defense. 26, Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa, going to the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, they've had a very good offensive line over the last 5 years or so, but now with guys aging and guys moving on, they get their starting center for the next 10 years or so. Linderbaum, one of the most clean prospects in the draft. The problem is those centers are never going to be taken in the top 10 realistically.
Yeah, they didn't get much love at all.
So realistically, he was never going to go.
Still a good pickup for them, though. Definitely.
Could use him.
One of the best O-line prospects in the draft.
Definitely.
As long as he's a center.
Could use him. So I got Kenyon Green going 27 overall, offensive guard, Texas A&M to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My friend Tim Loftus said, tell Brady to retire again. You never know. I think they're going to draft a guy to help Brady out since obviously on the offensive line they lost one guy. Was it Mopet retired? Or Jensen? No, Mopet retired or Jensen retired. One of them retired. I think it was Mopet retired and isn't coming back. So they could use an offensive lineman. He retired, Ali Mopet. So they could use a guard. I think he goes there. To Tampa Bay, they could definitely use him. 28 overall, Christian Watson, wide receiver from North Dakota State. Bigger wide receiver, 6'4", 208. I have him going to Green Bay. Green Bay obviously needs wide receivers. I think they could double up, which I have them doing in this draft. I don't know if it's going to happen, but obviously Rodgers, they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round since God knows when. So if they were to double up on receiver, that'd be wild. I could see them also going David Ojabo. I know he had his injury, but I think there's a chance he comes back later on in the season with the Achilles injury, and who knows, they could use some help on their defense, especially with them cutting a couple of their defensive linemen since they need some money for cap space. So they could definitely go on that route. 29 overall, Treylon Burks, bigger wide receiver from Arkansas, 6'2", 225. Going to the Kansas City Chiefs, wide receiver needy now, with them trading Tyreek Hill, losing Byron Pringle. Obviously, Odell Beckham Jr., I think there's a chance he goes there too, so maybe they wouldn't even draft a wide off. They think he's coming. But I have them taking Treylon Burks. Lewis Seen, one of my favorite players in the draft, hot-hitting safety, do it all, from Georgia, from Everett, Massachusetts. Very clean prospect. Started at Georgia this year. I'm a big fan of him. I have him going 30th overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. 31 overall, Kyer Elam, cornerback from Florida, going to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals could use offensive line help. I don't think there's anyone really here at 31 that's worthy of that. If Linderbaum or Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson were to fall, they'd take that. But I think they could use a corner, especially with Eli out being the second corner. I think they could use better than that. So Kyer Elam, I have him going from Florida to the Cincinnati Bengals at 32 overall. Could be a quarterback. There's a chance it could be Matt Corral. Chance it could be Desmond Ridder going to the Detroit Lions. I think they stick with Jared Goff for one more year, and I have them, or they could go any of those guys at 34. They have the 34th pick. So at 32, I have them taking Daxton Hill, improving that secondary, especially with them taking Jeff Okuda a couple years when him being hurt. That secondary needs some help. This is a guy that ran a 4.3 in high school, has a 43.6 inch vertical, and had a 4.13 shuttle out of the combine. So very athletic safety for Michigan. I have him going 32 overall to the Detroit Lions.
That'd be a good pick for them, too. I mean, combining with, who'd you have at number 2? Was it Thibodeau?
I have Trayvon Walker going number 2.
Okay.
I'm not really too big of a Trayvon Walker guy, but there's a lot of talk about him just because of athleticism going number 2. So I have him going to the Detroit Lions. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I'll go through and get my top 10. So number 1, I got Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's the best player in the draft, especially, for a team with the Jags that, an edge rusher is a need for them right now. He's the most built prospect, 6'7", 260. I just think he's the most, NFL-ready build. I mean, just, his incredible size and length. I think scouts have been, drooling over him for the last year or so, and I think it'd be cool seeing him go from Michigan to Detroit. I think it just kind of makes sense. I messed that up.
Michigan to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's my fault. And then number 2, I got Kayvon Thibodeau going to Detroit. I think he's close to Hutchinson, but not quite the number 1 edge rusher in the draft. Either way, he's a beast, and I think he's the second best player in the draft. And I think D-line's been a huge hit in this draft, really. I mean, it's just so deep and rich with players. Number 3, I got Derek Stingley going to LSU, probably the best defensive back prospect in the draft. Just ever since he was a freshman, there's been so much hype around his name. I got him going number 3. 4, I got Ahmad Gardner going to the New York Jets. He fills a need for them, and he's the best available at that position. 5, your Giants, I got them getting Evan Neal, getting the tackle that they need so badly.
I wouldn't be against it.
It'd help out you guys for sure. 6, I got Trayvon Walker falling to the Carolina Panthers. Another guy that's really risen up in the last few weeks, but I just think, scouts are going to stick with Hutchinson and Thibodeau, guys that have been, so highly touted all year. 7, back to the Giants, I got Jermaine Johnson. I think that's when we'll get picked up. A solid defensive line prospect for, you guys in the Giants. 8, I got Ikem Ekwonu falling a little bit to number 8, the Falcons. Either way, still a great pickup for the team. Definitely gives them some much-needed O-line help, as they move forward to a future without Matt Ryan. And then number 9, I got Drake London to the Seahawks. I think he's going to be the number 1 receiver in the draft. I don't think he's going to be a good pick. Only seeing 1 year of him being healthy, and against a weaker Pac-12 this past season, I just don't think he's going to end up being the best prospect in the draft, despite, his size and, the hype around him. And then number 10, I'm going to take the Jets grabbing Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. I think he's, the most dynamic player, receiver in that draft class. So definitely be a good pickup for them. But, really excited for tomorrow night. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Can't see everyone lands. And I hope my Pats take Booth from Clemson. I think he's a great defensive back prospect, especially now losing, J.C. Jackson, then losing Gilmore a year ago. We could definitely use some help in our secondary, and I think Booth is an NFL-ready player. I think he could start from year 1. Typically Clemson guys are just kind of ready to go to the NFL by the time they get, to be 22, 23 years old, and I think Booth is no different. I think he can, just come right in and make an impact on the defense. So it's definitely something we need too. After that tough ending of the season versus the Bills, we get 400-something passing yards to Josh Allen that game. We could definitely use help in the secondary. So that's my hope for the draft. We'll see where we go. I hope we go either secondary or a wide receiver. I wouldn't mind seeing us try to grab a guy like Chris Olave from Ohio State, a receiver, if he's still available. It's unlikely at that point.
Never know though.
You never know.
Depends on the GM's eye. If one guy were to London over him, London could be a top 10 pick. That's the thing with him. But
yeah, he could be anywhere
24,
from
23.
6 to 20 realistically.
Or I think I'm from 22 or something to Green Bay, whatever it is. But that's the thing.
Yeah, you never know either way.
We'll see. Really quick, give my ideal draft scenario for the Giants. 5th pick, Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle from NC State. Kayvon Thibodeau were to be there. I love Thibodeau, but I have Ikem Ekwonu going 5 to the Giants. In my ideal scenario, Mala, best offensive tackle, in the draft. Started, as I said last week, started as a freshman, true freshman at NC State. Was the first one to do that since 2010. So it'd be great to have him. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, big fan of him. Have him going 7 to the Giants in my ideal draft scenario. 6'3", only allowed, as I said last week, one catch for -2 yards against James and Williams, and allowed a quarterback rating of like in the 20s each of the last 3 years. So he's elite. Tyler Linderbaum going 36 for the Giants in my ideal scenario. Once again, don't think he gets a 36. Center from Iowa. If we could trade back and grab Zion Johnson or whatever, trade up, to grab Zion Johnson at like 26, let's say. Obviously, we wouldn't have the 36th pick, but I'd love to grab an interior.
That'd be a great draft class, getting Conroy and Zion Johnson.
Oh,
I mean, two great.
We need it for DJ. We need it. That's the thing. So I got Tyler Linderbaum's a guy as a top 10 pick in most mock drafts, up until January, February, and obviously by far is the best center in the draft. But obviously centers aren't too highly regarded in the draft, which is why he falls. Nick Benito, edge rusher from Oklahoma, big fan of 6'3", 248, 9 sacks in 2020, 7 sacks in 2021, 15 tackles for loss in 2021, and 26.5 over the last 2 years. Could be a very good edge rusher for the Giants. Obviously, the Giants need one. We aren't getting one in our top 3 picks here. So him coming in would probably be right behind Leonard Williams and Ojulari being the third best edge rushers. What he kind of was at Oklahoma was very good in that role. 81, Isaiah Likely, tight end from Coastal Carolina. Everett High alum, 6'4", 275. Not a great blocker, but can make big plays. I think the Giants definitely could use him. I'm a big fan of him. He's a name to keep your eye on. Tyquan Thornton, 6'2", wide receiver from Baylor. I'm going to the Giants at 112. 62 receptions, 948 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. A lot of speed, would be a steal for the Giants. Ran a 4.28 at 6'2", which is nuts, and has arms that are 33 inches long. So Giants would use that spread. Would be a great pickup.
Good prospect, yeah.
Yeah, and then 147, Sterling Weatherford, safety out of the University of Miami, Ohio. A Mac guy, strong, big hitter, 6'3", 225 safety. Not afraid to tackle in the open field. 98 tackles and 14 games as a sophomore in 2019. 66 and 12 games in 2021. 5.5 tackles for loss in 2019. Big fan of him. Hoping the Giants grab him at 147. At 173, Daniel Bellinger, tight end, San Diego State. 6'4", 255. 31 catches, 357 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 11 games in 2021. Best blocking tight end in the draft. The Giants have needed a blocking tight end because Saquon and Daniel Jones love running the options and going to the outside. They could use a guy to steal the edge. I love him. He's got great hands as a pass catcher as well, and runs a 4.6. So we don't need an elite, athletic tight end like we had with Evan Ingram. It didn't really work out. Which I'm an Evan Ingram guy, but we could use a blocker once in a while.
Yeah, it'd help you guys out for sure. You need some protection back there. So,
definitely.
Especially for Daniel Jones.
Could use it. Last pick, 182. Yusuf Corker, safety from Kentucky. Unreal in the box, covers a ton in the run game, very physical and plays hard. Played extremely hard against Iowa in the bowl game that I was watching. 8 tackles. Wraps up great, could be a special teamer as well. 77, 74, and 82 total tackles in each of the last 3 years respectively. Kind of embodies everything I like about the Clippers. He plays very hard, gives it his all. Big fan of him. I'd love the Giants to grab him in the 7th round at 182, which it's unlikely will be there in the 7th, probably 6th round. Really quick, 5 guys. Keep your names on. Keep your eyes on Zion McCollum, cornerback from Sam Houston. 3rd round production, 6'4", 205 tackles, 13 picks in 5 years at Sam Houston. They won the FCS championship 2 years ago now, and also had a couple touchdowns, returns. Very good cornerback. Would love the Giants to draft him in the 3rd round, but he's a name to keep your eye on. Just an FCS cornerback, a guy to look out for. Running backs at Sam McCormick, UTSA, San Antonio, 34 touchdowns in 3 seasons, 5'9", 205, 1,479 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns in 2021, 1,467 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns in 2020. Fills up the stat sheet, obviously, but his speed, his ability to run as a power back as well, he can do it all. I'd love the Giants to grab him. Lewis Seen, safety from Georgia. Everett guy, as I said earlier, started Georgia 73 tackles in 15 games this year. Hard hitter, covers the field well, 6'1", 200 pounds.
He's a good player.
Great player. Can do it all. Vilas Jones, wide receiver, Tennessee, 25 years old. Reason why I highlight him, one of the older players in the draft. 122 receptions over 6 years in college and just about 3,000 yards, just under. Very big fan of him. Can do kickoff returns, punt returns. He's also older, 25 years old. Hopefully gets his shot in the NFL. Would love to see him succeed in the NFL. John Smith, cornerback from Holy Cross, 3 interceptions and 5 deflections in 7 games this year. And the reason why I highlight him, obviously, a Holy Cross guy. Holy Cross doesn't have too many guys drafted him. If he were to be drafted, he'd be 7th round. But I think it'd be cool for him to be drafted. A name to keep your eye on. My last guy, Troy Anderson, linebacker from Montana State. All-conference pick as a quarterback in 2018 and a linebacker in 2019 and 2021. 6'3", 243 going into the NFL as a linebacker. But the thing with him is that he played running back in college, played quarterback in college, played in linebacker in college, played everything, all 3. He was also the 2021 FCS Defensive Player of the Year, I believe. Got some award in that regard. So very versatile player, name to keep your eye on. Very big fan of him. I'm looking forward to see where he goes in the draft. His name is Troy Anderson, linebacker, Montana State. Does it all. Absolute beauty. Does it all.
Wouldn't mind pass picking a guy like him up.
Can do it all. I mean, they say no breaks once he triggers downhill is what the NFL prospect. Right
I like the sound of that. Yeah,
not a bad one. I watched a little bit of his highlights.
Anyway.
Plays very hard. Had rushing touchdowns, receiving touchdowns because he's out of the back as a running back. Guy can do it all, but he's going to be a linebacker in the NFL. Played quarterback as well, which is interesting.
Oh, that's crazy. He's been all over the place. I think
he was Rookie of the Year in his conference as well, in the Big Sky Conference, which is cool.
Sounds like a Bill Belichick kind of guy.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Third round or fourth round, where he's going to go. I know you like Olave. Any other guy you want to keep your eye on?
Definitely Olave, Booth. I kind of like Devin Lloyd, as you said. I think he's a really dynamic linebacker. Easily, one of the top in the draft, if not number one, number two. Definitely those two guys. I definitely think, there's a couple other defensive backs to get deeper into the draft a little bit. But right now, my eye is totally set on Booth. I do think he's going to be available. Most of the mock drafts I'm seeing have him anywhere between 22 and 30. With us at 23, I think that's our best shot, and it seems like a lot of people are picking us to have him. Another guy I wouldn't mind is Zion Johnson. I've seen a couple of mock drafts taking the Pats, or having the Pats take him. Keeping a player local, that'd be really cool. Just as a big fan of him, we could use some O-line help, right now to help protect Mac Jones. So those are the few guys I definitely want to see. I would love to hear one of their names get called during the draft.
Alec Lindstrom, Zion Johnson, Tyler Vrabel.
Yeah, a lot of BC guys too. So
all those guys. Hopefully, all of them
definitely be hearing Zion Johnson and Alec Lindstrom. Hopefully,
Zion will be first round realistically.
Yeah, Zion will be first round.
4th, 5th round, maybe Vrabel.
Lindstrom will probably be 3.
3rd or 4th, yeah.
Vrabel and Petrula probably
5th
5,
and
6th, yeah. So it'd be really cool that 4 BC alignment will probably hear the name of the draft. At least 3, I would think.
Maybe Patriots. Patriots haven't taken a BC guy since 2009, so there's a chance.
Yeah, that's crazy. They signed Jake Bird a couple years ago and didn't really pan out.
Didn't draft, yeah. I hope they draft a guy. It'd be cool, I guess, going from there to the Patriots, obviously. Really quick, Mike Hurley, call in, really quick, talk about the Bruins real quick. Give us his NFL draft predictions. I'm going to give him a call right now. Get him on the phone. It's Mike Hurley, the sports guru. You guys all know him. You guys all love him. The absolute GOAT. Calling in. Here he is. Mike Hurley, how are we doing?
What's going on, Mike?
We're good.
What do we think? NFL draft or Bruins? What do you want to talk real quick? We had a couple minutes.
I always care more about the Bruins, but I don't want to...
We'll double both.
Yeah, we can go for both.
We can go both, yeah. Yeah, Bruins playoffs coming up.
What do you want in the draft? I heard Alan Booth and...
Yeah, I like Booth.
Booth's good.
I like Booth.
Nicole Dean or Devin Lloyd?
A receiver, too, maybe. Chris Olave.
I just want a Georgia guy or somebody fast. Just anyone fast at any position for the Patriots.
Yeah, I like Olave, the receiver, if he falls.
He's good.
But I don't know if he'll be available.
I'm scared of all these guys with the torn ACLs. Like, what's his name there?
Jameson Williams?
Jameson Williams, yeah.
I'm afraid him, Mechie, Pickett. I don't know. I'd rather them just get someone fast. No injury history. Hopefully, Georgia guy. Who's the other one? Quay Walker. He's a beast too.
Oh, Quay Walker, absolute beauty, dude. I think he's gonna be a second rounder, early second. It'd be interesting to see where he goes in the draft. Maybe a Patriot. You never know.
Dean, if I could pick my guy, I want Dean. But
yeah, no, I get
like
that.
Dean. I'm a fan of him.
Quay Walker's a good linebacker, though. There's a chance he goes to the Patriots. You never know.
Yeah. Belichick will just trade down. There's no use.
Yeah, he's got 20 great prospects at his hands.
I know
he's
you're
going to wait till day 3 again.
I know you're big Nakobe Dean guy, so hopefully the Patriots get him for you. But is there anyone else you keep your eye on? Maybe in the later rounds. Obviously, I know you're a big Justin Ross guy. He'll be there maybe in the 3rd round.
Ross and Pickens. I like those guys.
Pickens, George Pickens. I forgot about him. George Pickens, 2nd rounder. I mean, he'd probably be the steal of the draft.
They just got to get a young wide receiver who's actually good. I mean, right now they've got all guys from other teams pretty much, and then I guess Jacoby Myers is halfway decent for a young guy, but he was undrafted, so. You gotta get
never really hit on any receivers.
In the top 3 rounds if you can. All these teams have young guys coming in, putting up 1,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, or not 20 touchdowns, but
Yeah, either way, impressive stat lines. Yeah, we haven't really done that.
We've got N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, greatest first-round pick of all time.
Your boy N'Keal, yeah. One guy, though, I know you like University of Miami, Florida, safeties. Bubba Bolden, a guy that I would like the Giants to draft in the later rounds. Plays very hard, physical, gets to the ball very quickly, gets very downhill, very fast. He'd be a guy, I know you love your University of Miami guys. What'd you say?
Did Sean have the pick 6 in the championship for Georgia?
I think he was blocking on that. I don't think he had the return. That was
some guy.
Darion Kendrick or something? Who had that return?
Yeah, it might have been Kendrick.
I think Kendrick had the pick six.
That sounds right.
Clemson went to Georgia.
What's up?
Is that the guy?
Darion Kendrick? Yeah, I think he did go from Clemson to Georgia, yes.
Player of the game.
Yes, he had a pick six, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was him,
I
I'm
know
pretty
people
sure.
were critical. Switching to the Bruins here. They said that people were critical, quiet of my take that Grizzlick should be on the power play instead of McAvoy.
You're right.
Power play's what, 0 for 35? You got to mix it up. You got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You're not
the
wrong.
most important player on the team. No doubt. Earns the $9.5 million he's going to be getting next year. But he doesn't shoot the puck enough. And then you got Hall sitting at the side of the net, too indecisive on the power.
Hey, he scored the other night, though, Hall.
He scored, but it was even strength. And he's been scoring ever since I called in to Felger and Maz and said the guy doesn't shoot. But he's only going a million miles an hour. On the power play, you have to make quick decisions, be more like Bergeron, Pasternak, Marchand. They either make the pass, make the shot. You can't just sit there and delay because then you lose the odd man situation. The 2-on-1s, the 2-on-0s. He's too slow. He's only good if he's skating fast, and on the power play, he's stationary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
One thing about the Bruins, though, is that right now they'd be matching up with the Carolina Hurricanes, right?
Yeah.
And Frederik Andersen will be out, correct?
If they what?
Is Frederik Andersen going to be out for that series, the goalie?
I don't know. I've heard everything from he's missing 2 games to he's missing the whole series. I'm not too concerned about him because they beat him when he was on Toronto in the playoffs a few times. But the concerning stat is we've been outscored 16-1 in the regular season. I'm willing to throw it out. A couple mulligans. Rask played one of the games. Marchand was suspended. I think Bergeron might have even missed one of the games too. But we should be all right. Team defense is good. We just shut down best team in the league last night. Best offense.
Yeah, that was a big win. Panthers.
Yeah, they locked
That
them
was
up pretty
good.
Beat them down. I mean, Florida doesn't have much to play for, but
Still a good win against a good team. Yeah. How far you got the Bruins going in the playoffs?
all the way, always.
Let's go.
Always.
I love that. Let's go.
If you get in hockey, if you get in, you can go on a run. I actually think the Bruins are fortunate if they end up in that Metro side. I know we've got some listeners who are Flyers fans. The Metro is
Team E.
a little weaker than
Shout out
the
E.
Atlantic. So if we end up playing in
Definitely.
Carolina and we advance, then we'll either play Pittsburgh, Washington, or not Washington because they're going to be playing the Atlantic, but Pittsburgh or the Rangers, and I think we match up well, especially with the Rangers there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had a good win against. Solid win against them the
You're
other
going to
week.
have to play good teams no matter who. So,
Don't want to play the Maple Leafs at all, dude. They're unreal.
No, we'll beat them. We're fine.
Dude, they've been lighting it up.
Hey, we own the Maple Leafs in the playoffs.
60 goals? Yeah, 60 goals for Austin Matthews in 73 games.
Bees own the Leafs in the playoffs.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, though, I wouldn't want to face them with that offense. You know how like
No, but we'd have to get through every
Tavares.
team eventually if we want to win the cup.
Regular season on a game-to-game basis. They don't do that in the playoffs because everybody ramps up the defense.
John Tavares, though.
Sports.
John Tavares, if he's got that veteran, the veteran leadership.
He's a joke.
Easy there. You know he's good. You even said he was good.
Goaltending's huge. and
You said he was good when we were at the game.
He was good years ago, but now he's quiet. He's a mismatch as a second-line center, but he hasn't been nearly as dominant as he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age.
They're fast. They good line rush team, possess the puck, so it's a tough matchup for him there. He's going to be chasing around Hall and Pasternak and Hall.
Absolutely, yeah. So you see the Bruins winning the NHL Stanley Cup. I think they definitely make a run too.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, if they get hot at the right time, it's
Them versus Colorado, you think?
Yeah, Colorado's probably the odds-on favorite out there, but I don't know. Dark horse out in the West, maybe Minnesota.
Edmonton kid.
Okay.
No, terrible. Nope, not Edmonton.
McDavid. Draisaitl, come on.
I wouldn't mind a Bruins Blues rematch. It's a legit possibility.
I'm almost afraid of it. But the Blues are playing the Wild first round. I want the Wild to beat them. Kirill the thrill.
That's gonna be a good matchup.
There you go, kid. That's not a bad prediction. So you got the Bruins over Colorado. You have?
Yeah, Bruins Wild.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota. All right, I respect that.
Okay.
The best chance to keep going is probably Florida.
Okay.
Florida and Tampa, but Tampa's I don't know, 2 straight cups. Are they going to 3? I don't think so. Hope not.
You're right. Yeah, I hope not. For our sake, your sake. I know you're the biggest Bruins fan.
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever.
It's a tough task.
Stamkos, obviously, Vasilevsky. Very good team
100 points.
all around. Kucherov.
Yeah.
All around, they're really good. So you got that your prediction in. Patriots, you want a Kobe Dean at 24, is it? Right? The Patriots have the 24th pick? 21st. 21st pick. As I said, hey, Bubba Bolden, absolute dog. I'll send you his highlights later. Say safety from Miami, big fan of him. See where he goes in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You want sizzle? Hey, you want a T. Higgins in the draft. You're right. You want a T. Higgins. You were right.
I wanted T. Higgins. They were talking about him today on the show. I said, if only they had my recording from 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. They could use you in the booth, kid, at 98.5. Throw you in there.
Yeah, maybe they could use me in the GM spot.
Yeah, they could.
Dude, the Sox could
all
use
the names
you.
are throwing out.
The Sox could use you right now in the bullpen, dude. Blowing games. Last night was ridiculous.
They could probably use any of us right now.
Yeah, anyone.
The way they look.
They blew that game in the ninth inning.
I could do my slow pitch.
Ninth inning, Jake Diekman
Softball.
comes in, gives up 3 runs, blow the lead, we lose the game. 7th through 9th innings of the Red Sox, a disaster.
The Boston
Get them Barons there.
Devil Rays, right?
Yeah, the Boston Devil, yeah.
Just taking over, bringing the Tampa Bay Rays budget style up here.
Dude, honestly, that's what he's doing. And the sad thing is, like, we're a big market team. I don't know why he's playing like, he's picking players to sign the Baltimore Orioles, who have, one of the smaller payrolls, like Tampa Bay, like you said. He has so much money to spend, he just doesn't do it on pitching. Spend it on pitching. Spend it on pitching.
People who weren't his picks,
Well, he doesn't want to pay Devers.
get attached to their guys.
He hasn't paid Devers yet. He hasn't paid Bogarts yet.
Write him a blank check.
Oh, hand it over to Devers. Devers, whatever he wants. Give him $400 million. I don't care what he wants. Give him anything he wants. Make sure he's on your team forever, too.
He's the best. I mean, these guys are already World Series champions.
You're right.
Yeah.
Not much more to accomplish. You're right. That's the thing. Anyways, one last thing.
Proven that they can go there and do it. That's the thing. Not
You got to make it,
the
yeah.
other guys
Yeah, true.
have gone and won a World Series already.
You're right. That's what it takes. You got to win, obviously, to make more money. That's usually how it is. Guys win the World Series, like Anthony Rendon, then get a huge contract. Doesn't always work out. Really quick, though, I want to ask you, what do you think about the Celtics? How far do you think they're going to make a run? Obviously, they beat the Brooklyn Nets at 4.
Zach's going to be ashamed to hear this, but I didn't actually watch any. Although, you know my take. I do not believe in Durant. I don't believe in Kyrie. I knew the Celtics would win that series. I didn't think it would be a sweep. But
Yeah, I done too, but
these are quitters. These guys, these NBA divas, they quit when their team's down.
all they want to do is play hero
That's what we
ball
saw.
too. That team.
Should be a good series against the Bucks if the Bucks, take the cake tonight, right?
Yeah, it'll probably happen.
For a little revenge, I don't know. I think the Celtics
I love that.
Middleton out, right, for the Bucks.
Yep.
Celtics
Yep.
have the edge. But
Yeah, definitely think it's gonna be a close series either way. I mean, I bet every game will be within 5-10
I mean,
points.
they're favorite. They're not underdogs. They're favorite.
Yeah, first time in a while that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got though? How many games?
Celtics, how many?
7.
All right,
Okay,
that's what
I
I
like
got.
that.
Celtics 7,
Yeah,
actually.
home court 7. We'll take them 7.
Yep,
I like it.
that. Close
Hey.
about at home.
Giannis is going to get to the line.
Oh, 100 times a game.
Oh, easy.
20 a game,
Yep.
probably, just like Durant. They
We'll
always
be
do
up
that.
3-2. They'll bring Scott Foster back again.
Yep, they always do that. That's the way of the NBA nowadays. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for coming on, though. Truly a
Yeah,
pleasure
thanks for
always
coming
having
on. We
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming on, talking about the Bruins, NFL draft, the Red Sox, and the Celtics. You covered it all in just about 10 minutes. So thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure.
You have to cut down the topics. It's so tough to cram it all in.
Right, the NFL draft. I cut down the college baseball.
There's so
Mike.
much going on right now.
I didn't do
It's
any
busy
college
season.
baseball. And you know me in college baseball. You know me in college hockey. Both of those being gone, there's a lot more time. But the NFL draft is too much.
I have to make it a nightly show.
Hey, next
Yeah,
time.
seriously.
Well, you come in the studio. But hey, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, kid.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, see you guys.
Have a good night. Appreciate it.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
So there you have it.
Alright,
Sports
yeah.
guru right there. One guy I forgot to mention really quick. Bailey Zapp, quarterback, Western Kentucky, threw the most touchdowns in a single
Yeah, he
season
was
in
unreal
college
this year,
football
so.
history. Was very good. He's wide receiver, too. I forget his name. Another guy to keep your name eye on. I forget his name off the top of my head. Another one, Dustin Crum, quarterback, Kent State. A MAC guy. Very good. MAC player of the year 2 times, I believe, off the top of my head. We'll love to see where he goes in the draft. Very high on him. Wouldn't mind him as a backup on the Giants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you go. We had our whole draft prediction.
Yeah, wow. That was a pretty action-packed episode.
Yeah.
With that, we'll wrap it up for another week. Thank you guys for listening. Obviously, it's a pleasure being out here and talking sports. Today there's so much going on. Celtics, Bruins, NFL draft coming up tomorrow night. It's a big season, so thank you guys for listening to us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. Auntie Lisa, the O'Malley family, the Mazio family, the Brennan family, Mike Hurley, sports guru, for calling in.
Yeah, thank
my
you,
family,
Mike,
my
too.
friends, Mark Walsh, a legend. Thank you guys all so much for listening. The Keith family as well. You guys are always listening in. Means a ton. My uncle, the whole Stellwagen softball team, shout out all of them as well. Thank you guys so much for always listening in. Means a ton to me. Means a ton to both of us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to being back next Wednesday night, which I don't know how many more. We'll do at least a couple more probably before.
Yeah, we'll probably have at least 2 more, and then it'll be summer, so we'll
goes.
probably have just
Couple
occasional
more.
episodes over the summer.
Yeah, we'll
Depending
figure
on what's
something
going
out.
on. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening
See
in.
how everything goes.
And as I've said before in the past, our thoughts and prayers are with the Ukraine, praying for peace. Obviously, things still going crazy there. So our thoughts and prayers are with them and their families and all the children and everyone there. So hopefully things get better soon. We're praying for peace and praying, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. So thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good night. Stay safe and well. Take it easy. We'll be back on next week.